Okay, so I'm gonna come on here and I'm gonna give my thoughts and keep it real with you guys, okay? My last video I talked about God really wants us to be obedient, right? And to give Him full trust that He's gonna work your situation out, right? That He is all knowing and He is in control. To focus on Him, okay? Because when you focus on God, you become a better person, right? Because God is just this wonderful, loving. He's the Almighty, the Alpha and the Omega. His Son had the purest heart, Jesus Christ. He doesn't turn your back on you when you're going through it. The devil will turn his back. The devil won't console you. The devil will try to make you give another sacrifice. The quick fix, like put a band-aid over it. But he'll trick you every time, right? So that's what I've been trying to do, okay? And the walk isn't easy, right? Like, God has really been trying to have me be a stronger person and to really teach me things. And I've learned a lot, okay? I've learned a lot, and he's softened my heart, and he's taught me how to, to love myself and to love better, and but anyway, about being obedient. But this is what I want to tell you guys, that God is always around. He hears every thought. I'm telling you, every thought, you guys. I have been praying and praying, and I go through the things that God sends me to pray about, not only praying for myself, but to pray for others, to pray for other people in the world, other situations, because it isn't going to get better if you don't pray and put faith in that, even to pray for your enemies, right? Because if you're going to walk with God, you can't be bitter. Okay, you cannot be bitter and be like, those people hurt me, so I'm not going to pray for them. And the enemy will laugh. They will laugh at you when you say you pray for them, right? Because they'll take your kindness for weakness. They'll think you're stupid, like you're gullible, you're a dummy. But what they don't understand, that it's a bigger purpose, like you was sent in to clean the bloodline, right? You was chosen. God knew you could withstand that war, right? And it's for a much bigger purpose. This is about your Father, to fixing the whole universe, like spreading that light. It's not about tearing you down. It's like, you can do whatever you want, right? But you cannot take my faith in God away, right? But you think about this. When Jesus was here, He did not go and say, like, if somebody hurt Jesus, He did not say, I'm not going to pray for them. Oh, because they hurt me. Like, you can't be in judgment, okay, and be bitter. If you walk with God, you walk with Jesus Christ, you got to have that heart. It's like, don't hate that person, hate the spirit. Hurt people, right? Pray for that person to heal. Pray for that person to repent of their sins. Pray for that person to have something happen that's all-knowing, that come from the Father or Jesus Christ, to have a spiritual awakening. Because you can't walk this path and be like, oh, those are the people that hurt me. Now, you can forgive, but you don't have to go back to that person, right? You literally can forgive and not go back to that seat. Because sometimes people will think, oh, I could forgive them and bring them back into my life. No, God isn't saying that, because God hears conversations, right? God says, you leave it to me. Learn your lesson and leave it to me. But you can't hold this bitter heart of the people that hurt you and be like, F them, I'm not going to pray for them. Because then you're not really healing. You're not. Ask God to fix your family. Ask God to deliver that person. Or ask God to rebuild the enemy. And then pray for that enemy. Because true forgiveness is when you pray for them. It's not saying come back and sit at my table. It's more of a purpose, to go to the eternal kingdom with the Father, right? Because that's you're not really walking in with the Lord, right? Okay, so going back also to what I was thinking is that when you walk this obedience and you walk this faith to God, right, the devil is going to strike you and hurt you and try to do anything to you to curse God out, just like the story of Job. Excuse me. They don't want me to speak. Just like the story of Job. So you have got to ask God for discernment, because not only that, he's going to put a voice in your head. It's like the dark want to pull you back. They see you going toward that light. They want to pull you back. They want to put doubt in your head. They want you to try to control the situation. Because really, when you surrender it to God, that's when it's going to come through, your breakthrough. Because people don't want to let go of that control. But you got to use your discernment on what's God's voice and what's not your voice to the dark voice, right? You have to use your discernment, you guys. You're going to have weak moments. People say when they go through this walk, oh, it's peachy keen, love and light, this and that. Let me tell you, when I first started on my journey, on my spiritual awakening, I've learned a lot that I thought was right, was wrong. Like you learn, it's kind of like when you get sober, you go on a pink cloud, but that pink cloud goes away. Because when I first started walking in the path, I thought, at first it was hard. But then you go through a phase, like you go through so many different phases. You think this is wonderful. No. Because once you master a level, here comes another level. Boom. It's like, oh, no, not another one. You go through another ego death. And let me bring up something too. Somebody talked about, when I first got on the spiritual awakening and when somebody talked about an ego death, I literally thought that you literally go through ego death, your ego death goes away. No, it's not that. It's like your ego learns, like your ego doesn't take full of control, like you literally go an ego death is like, man, I effed up, I was wrong. Like, say if you hurt somebody, right? I can't believe I listened to these people. I was wrong about that person. Look what I did to that person, or look what I done wrong. Look how I listened to the devil. Like, you really go through and you take accountability. You messed up and you're depressed and you're utter. But that's how the way you heal. When you go through that humiliation, when you go through that, take that accountability. That's like a form of ego death, right? Because you don't want your ego to take over, right? But you have to have discernment, because it's like the dark is trying to talk for you to take it. You take control and don't trust in God. Don't trust in God. But this is what I'm trying to say. God is always around. He can hear. He can hear everything, right? So I've been reading the Bible more, you guys. And to the ones, I used to think when they would know the Bible and they would pull up, say, oh yeah, that verse, 1 Corinthians, or they would know all the different, things of the Bible, and God don't care about that. Because I used to be like, wow, man, God don't care about that. God's going to search you in a way to get in the Bible. Like, I'm reading the Bible more now than I thought I never would, because the Bible was intimidating. I didn't understand it, but God is going to help you break it down. So the way I started on the Bible was, I'm just going to randomly open pages to see where God leads me to. Like, I'll go to the Bible if I'm feeling a certain way. Something tells me go to the Bible and open up a page, right? So as I was having doubt, and it wasn't my voice, it was telling you, it was a dark coming in, and it was telling me to go back and not be on this obedient path to not let God control, like that dark was coming in. So let me tell you what I opened the Bible to, you guys. and I marked it. And this is how you know God is around and he's listening. Okay, so I don't have a highlighter, so I flipped the page, right? I went through, I do this, you guys. Hold on, let me bend it back down. So I'll open up the Bible and I'll just stop. I'll do that. Stop. And I'll read. So after I was having that thought, after literally I just started, I hope I didn't unfold the page. Hold on, you guys. Give me 1 second. Oh, I unflipped it. Oh, I sure did. Give me 1 second. Okay, guys, sorry. I unflipped it as I was showing you guys. And this is where I marked it. 460 and 30. Okay, 33 is a big number for me, you guys. And this is what I was thinking in my head, like trying to do it my way, you know. And then I turned to 460, which is Isaiah 30, verse 2, 30. Okay, here we go. Do not go down to Egypt. All stubborn children, declares the Lord, who carry out a plan but not mine, and who make an alliance but not of my spirit, that may add sin to sin, who set out to go down to Egypt without asking for my direction, to take refuge in the protection of the pariah, and to seek shelter into the shadow of Egypt. Therefore shall the protection of the pariah turn to your shame, and the shelter in the shadow of Egypt to your humiliation. For though his officials are at Zoan, and his envoys reach Hanes, everyone comes to shame through a people that cannot profit them, that brings neither help nor profit, but shame and disgrace. An oracle on the beast of Negib. I'm sorry, you guys, some of these words, but it's okay. Through a land of trouble and anguish, from where comes to the lioness and the lion, the adder, the flying fiery serpent, they carry their riches on their backs of donkeys, and their treasures on the humps of camels, to a people that cannot profit them. Egypt's help is worthless and empty. Therefore I have called her Rabbi, who sits still. Did you guys get that? It's saying don't go back to Egypt. Don't basically, it's the wrong. Don't make an alliance. Let me read this. All stubborn children, so don't be stubborn. Do not let God have control. Don't let the dark trick you, declares the Lord, who carries out a plan but not of mine, and who will make an alliance but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin. Don't sin. Be obedient. Don't add sin to sin. Who set to go down to Egypt without asking for my direction, to take refuge in the protection of the pariah, and to seek shelter in the shadow of Egypt. Therefore shall the protection of pariah turn to your shame. A rabbi who sits still. Sit still, sit still. That's what I've been hearing. Sit still and wait on God. Don't try to do it your way. You have to use your discernment. Those voices are not your voices. They want you to go down and make the mistake. Because, ask God to give you patience. Ask God to give you discernment to really sit still and trust God. I know the waiting period can be hard. That's why I said, call for God, ask patience. And even me, you guys, when I talk to you, I'm talking to me. I'm just trying to share you guys my journey. Okay, because I've made a lot of mistakes. And I still was making mistakes. I'm going to keep it real 100 with you guys. I was doing things, but God has been taking that slowly away from me, you guys. I was living in survival mode. Let me repeat this. I was living in survival mode. Okay, and I noticed that when I trust in more God, things work out. It's not going to be the way you want it, but it's going to be just what you need, okay? To fully trust in God and be obedient, okay? And you're going to have people that come in that, like, something about, like, God saved you for something. Don't go back to what God saved you for. You're going to have people who's going to come in with a plan, and you think it's going to be a better plan. God says, wait on him. And you may say, well, how am I going to know? Like, what I hear is, when God's way comes in, there's not going to be confusion. God's going to come in with peace. He's going to come in, ask for God to give you clarity. It's not going to be this big ball of confusion, because the devil's going to give you confusion. To sit and wait on the Lord. And if you need something, like if you're waiting period, you ask God what you need. I'm telling you guys, I have seen prayers work with my own eyes through other people. Sometimes you need a sign. It may come that walking through a prayer. It may be a Bible verse. You may have a dream which you don't understand, but there'll be a moment, I'm telling you, where you'll be like, oh my goodness, that's what that dream meant. Like, pay attention to your dreams right now. Use discernment with your dreams, because right now the enemy's trying to make you scared. Like last night I had a dream that I had somebody trying to come in, and that was, that was trying to hurt me, and they had a gun, but they're trying to give you those illusions for you to be in fear. One day I opened up the Bible to Psalms 91 when I was afraid of something about, another download that I had about, a divine feminine, a divine masculine getting hurt, something with a knife, and I was watching the show ER, and one of my favorite episodes was Lucy and Dr. Carter, and I was something about a piano man, and I just got done watching a documentary about Billy Joe, sing us a song, a piano man. And that was in that scene when Lucy and Dr. Carter, that song was playing, they were singing it. And when they found out, they got the call that they got hurt, that they got stabbed, right? And it's like they want you to be scared and fear. But that day when I was watching that episode, I opened up my Bible to Psalms 91. He that dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. He will cover you with his feathers. 1,000 may fall at your hand, but 10,000 at your right, but it will not come, near you. Those are not the exact words, but you are covered with his feathers. Okay? They want to make you scared. But when you walk with God, nothing can hurt you, because I'm telling you, God will manifest the angels to come down. God himself. God is in control. He's in control. Let him take the wheel. Sit, be still. If you need something, ask. I'm telling you, prayer works. Pray for other people. Pray for the other divine feminine, divine masculine out there. Pray for the chosen ones. Pray for your enemies. I know you may be hurt what they've done to you, but remember, hurt people, and it's not the person, it's the spirit. Ask for deliverance. Ask for them to ask forgiveness. Ask for them to be, because you can't go and walk the path of God and be like, well, I'm not going to pray for that person. Jesus didn't do that. I'm not going to pray that if they hurt me. No. God's not going to let that. You're not walking. You're not going in the right direction, you guys. I love you guys. I'm out of here. 333. All journey long to the sun, to the moon, to the stars, and back. I'm running out of time. Bye.